Today is a very special day. Why? Because childhood का जो fascination रहता है ना अच्छे actors का, वो पूरा हो जाता है जब मैं इमरान हाशमी साहब को देखता हूँ. दोनों ने आज black पहना है. Good to see him back in action. And also another gentleman who's, I say every film producer, every gentleman who's involved in the process of filmmaking these days, perhaps is answering more questions with himself than anybody else in the whole world. Anand Pandit Saab, thank you so much for joining me. You know, I say this line with a little bit of fear suppressed as a great film follower for so many years. 20 साल से हम लोग फिल्में देखते आ रहे हैं. How is it as a filmmaker these days? You know, when you're sitting out there making decisions, when to come out, how to come out, what to expect. You know, y'all are the final call. I mean, I want to get into inside your head and find out how are you dealing with all these current times these days?
Yeah, we all know it's a difficult time. We have to be, I mean, as it is, film production, distribution, exhibition is a very difficult line. It's not that easy. And on the top of that, we have pandemic recently. So it's giving really hard time to the industry itself. So now, and because of the OTT, the strong emergence of OTT, people have got now different habit of watching the content differently. So now you have to, as a producer, you have to be very, very careful in selecting the project, selecting the star cast, budget, how you want to narrate the story, what format you want to go to theater or you want to go to OTT. So all this concern, you have to take care about it. Time has changed.
But one gentleman who seems to have no concern. मैंने जितने आपके सर जिम की फोटोज देखी हैं ऑफ लेट, मतलब पिछले एक साल में गाने सुपर हिट हो रहे हैं या ओटीटी पे आपके शोज आ रहे हैं, फिल्में आ रही हैं. I don't think Emraan Hashmi has ever been any busier in these varied platforms than now. Am I correct on that?
I was just telling the other interviewer right now, she was asking me, how does it feel to be the only actor with 2 theatrical releases in COVID? Yeah. Either I am the biggest buffoon, I'm the smartest guy and the luckiest guy. I don't know which one it is. I really can't pick and guess which one it is. But I'm just happy I'm doing work, man. At the end of the day, it is just keeping those creative juices flowing. Yeah. And putting out those great products there. And I've realized that, you know, no one really knows what's going to be successful and what's not going to be successful. In these unprecedented times, it's even more important to be there for each other. Yeah. Especially theater owners. There's a certain codependency between these two entities, the film industry and theater owners, and to put it out there so that, you know, it kind of fuels the system, so to speak, and not really think about, okay, I won't get a perception of magical numbers in the box office. Let's just go by the shortcut and put it out on OTT. Yeah. I think that should be the way. And kudos to people like Anand ji and Bhushan, who also put out Mumbai Saga. Who will take that, you know, call and take those baby steps in opening up theaters, because that's our first love. These films were meant to release in theaters, and wouldn't have it any other way.
You know, I think, like I said, I drove down to Gujarat to watch Bell Bottom recently. It's not like, you know, the people don't want to watch it. I mean, the idea is there that they want to watch. But they, you know, it's like one of those ones, pehle aap jaake ek bari dekh ke aao na, how is it? Oh, it's nice, all good. Okay, now I'll come in. And I think that's also started happening like over the weekend, and, you know, as things sort of changed, people are now coming in the other centers and other cities, and more so in the north, I'm noticing that. So, Anand ji, do you see a pattern jahan agle 1-2 mahine mein you'll start to see, because last year also, first slowly Delhi started going out, then everybody started going out, you know, and even Maharashtra now, I have a feeling some decisions will be taken in the next 2 weeks that might change a few things also. So, aapko kya lag raha hai? We are in a situation where first few days could be tough, but if word of mouth is good and online is good, then people will come.
Sure, definitely. मुझे लग रहा है कि the proper communication has to go to people that theaters are open. Majority people doesn't know even theaters are open. Yeah. In the middle of clutter, that every film is going to OTT, people thought that this first film which got released last week, that also was on OTT.
Yeah, that's true.
That clear communication was not given that this is coming to theaters. And third is from cinema owners also an initiative, localized initiative, that yes, please come. have experience. It's a nice film. We are open. So that is needed. So maybe within 1 month, I think when we have 2, 3, 4 films lined up in theaters, people will start coming in. Because I don't see there is apprehension about people coming to theater. If that was there, then because all airlines are full.
Yes.
All hill station hotels are full. So people are moving. They are going to restaurants. They are going to pubs. So I don't think there is any apprehension about it. But one, they want to understand that the content will be good because they will be putting in money. Now they've got an option of OTT. So good films has to come. And second, they must know that yes, theaters are open.
You know, Imran, when you look at all the comments also on Chehre's trailer, earlier where mass used to be completely attached with you, now they lovingly also say class and mass. I think that mix very rarely comes with any actor in our Bollywood scenario right now. You actually metamorphosized yourself to sort of agree, with both the audiences. Do you now think that you're in control totally of, where you perceive yourself with the audiences? What kind of imagery you want to give them now with, the last, say, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, for any actor, it would be, icing on the cake to have both the masses and classes endorse their films. In my career, there's always been a mixed bag. I started off as predominantly a mass actor, and then I started taking these, trickling into this class segment with films like Shanghai and Tigers and these kind of films. But it gives a definite edge because you then are open to, and you have choices to kind of, your choices open up. You can do a mass film, which there are plenty of. And also then you have these kind of class films, which are, the gently intelligent films that also are fantastic. I mean, it gives me best of both worlds. Yeah.
It's kind of tough to actually sometimes see you, because I've known you so closely also, that you are a mass hero also, because otherwise you're not a mass kind of person. You're a very private person and the most reluctant star that there is in Bollywood. Have you now come to terms with that totally also?
I don't think I ever will. I have a problem with a lot of things that stardom has to offer. For my own sanity, I like to keep a clear division between this and the other guy who works at home. That keeps me sane. I don't take my shop back home, and that's a life away from this. Some actors don't need to do that. I need to kind of unmask this and get out and wash myself off this. There's nothing wrong with this, but mixing the two, I have a family and friends also who are extremely private, and they are not film industry people at all. So it's refreshing to be chatting about things that I've got nothing to do with the film industry. I don't want to hear about trade numbers. I don't want to hear about the distribution circuit and about what's happening with films. Nothing of that. And I think that's a great cleanse. Because that was who I was when I started off, right? I wanted to be an actor, and I cherish that part of me, and I don't want to lose that. So that will always be I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but that'll always be a part of me and my personality.
We take a little break right now. Emraan Hashmi और Anand Pandit मेरे साथ. Don't go anywhere. Of course, चेहरे की बात हो रही है. रिया चक्रवर्ती, अमिताभ बच्चन साहब, and Emraan Hashmi in it. You're back with me on Star Stop, and it's out in the theaters again. Bell Bottom जब release हुई, yes, the response has been sort of muted. We'd have expected a bigger response. लेकिन now, let's hope that Chehre, joining me right now, of course, with Emraan Hashmi and Anand Pandit, we'll talk about how the nervousness, how the feel for a new theatrical release, how it pans out for our audiences as well as the stars. I think a gentleman who both worlds really connect with is Mr. Bachchan. You'll have the people outside the film industry that love him. I still love going past his house. There's something that happens to me when I see Mr. Bachchan. It's almost like sometimes I feel ki who are we to stand in the same space with this gentleman, with this body of work. Now, Anandji, you've had a long interaction with him also. I will come to you first and then, of course, to Emraan. Mr. Bachchan is just one of those people where even as a seasoned producer like yourself also, you also must be double checking your notebook at home before you meet him, right? कि मैंने तो सब set किया हुआ, right? Before I meet him.
Absolutely.
How has he been otherwise to work with? Because you've known him and you've worked with him also. Your interaction with Mr. Bachchan.
Yeah, I think his aura is at times intimidating. But once you meet him, he puts you at very ease. He understands your issues, your problems. Becomes very easy once you meet him. But every time when you have to meet him, you have to do your all exercise. Because I know he has got thousands of questions.
Yes.
So we do all our exercise. I always do my exercise before meeting him.
But was Chehre easy to convince him with? Or did he have a lot of questions for it?
I'm one of the most fortunate producers, I would say. That Chehre script story was curated by him. And he wanted to make this film almost 5 years back. So one day I got a phone call from Mr. Bachchan that Anand, I like this story and I want to do this and I want you to produce this. So it was other way around.
Oh, wow. So simple, hand in glove. I've never seen you intimidated, Emraan, with anyone. More so, I think people don't understand you because you don't give out too much of what is inside. But when you meet a Mr. Bachchan, is there some little fanboy in a heart at all?
Completely. I said something very stupid to him when I met him for the first time. I told him that, God, you're taller than I thought you would be. He is towering. Yeah. And it was quite a fanboy moment. But I was not lost for words that day. I think we had some interesting conversations, and that was the day when we actually announced the film, and it was at his bungalow. The point where there was a reading, and that was fine. The point where I started getting a little anxious was when the fanboy came out, was a night before the first shot. Yeah. Now, I psyched myself because I was like, here's a man that I have grown up watching, okay? Yeah. And the performance anxiety of being my best, right? Yeah. And I generally get great sleep in the night before shoots. Yeah. But there was this one night, I think I slept for only 2 hours, 3 hours, because my mind was like working overtime. I was like, I hope I don't forget my first 3 lines. When I look at him, there's something about camera roll, action, yeah, and the kind of nervousness on the first day, and to top it with Mr. Bachchan in front of you. Yeah. These heavy scenes where you guys are like at each other and this duel. Yeah. So I was like, God, don't mess this up. Don't forget your lines.
You saying forget your lines is a really big deal because Emraan remembers every actor's lines. He's a Rattu Tota. So this is a big deal.
Think about ICSE, right? You got to kind of mug up. So I had done my prep. I was like, I hope that fanboy doesn't come out and I start getting intimidated and all. But thankfully, I got through those first, that page of lines. And I was like, then after that was smooth sailing. So it was great.
This genre is very exciting always. And he had done Badla, of course, also that really came out nicely. And people like this whodunit mysteries. And the best thing about this trailer also, even with the comments in the YouTubers, you reveal very little in the trailer. If I'm watching the trailer, I don't really know what's going on. Is there a mystery? Is there a murder? Is there a theft? Is there what exactly? There's a lot more than meets the eye, which is fantastic. Is that also what appealed to you, Emraan? Because it's a twisting and turning kind of film?
Yeah, in thrillers, you really have to step out of the crease and do something new every time around. First of all, thrillers don't explore too much in our country. But there has to be a certain novelty every time you come out with a thriller. And the fact that this was this unusual game in this house with these interesting people and how this unassuming guest, which is me, has been pulled into it. And then these things start emerging and people are unmasked. And I don't want to give too much away, but that fascinated me. This is unlike anything I've read or seen. And I was like, I must do it because it'd be one of those things in my resume where, okay, really experimented in this genre and did something new and tasteful and nice. And I actually saw the film yesterday. It's an exceptional film. I think the way the narrative style is and just the performances. It's about, I think that the 3 pillars of this film, if you ask me, are story narrative, performances, and the visual aspect. Any one of these 3, if it had faltered, Chehre wouldn't be the film it is. And I think all 3 of them are top-notch.
Were you a fan of detective novels when you were young? I mean, I used to love Hercule Poirot and Sherlock Holmes, and so many more.
Of course. And I've also thriller novels, films. I'm actually reading a very interesting thriller right now. I don't know if you've read Hunting Party.
No.
Interesting book. I'm reading that right now. So I'm just a sucker for thriller. Anything thriller. Films, books. I love them all.
Anandji, sometimes when a film can get delayed, the question always in your mind, do I need to reshoot some parts? Should I change a few things? Because of obvious reasons like you'll have COVID and then screens and various other uncertainties. As a producer, did you go through that also, saying that, okay, I'm second guessing, because you have so much time to keep watching it, you're probably thinking, isko bhi change kar dete, usko bhi change kar dete. Did you go through that?
Fortunately not, because our pre-production was so strong that we knew that what exactly we are shooting. So we never had any thought like that. Only thing is, because it got delayed twice in a way, we got some time. So we added one poem recitation of Bachchan Saab, and we have shot that as our title track. So that is what we have added to the film. Otherwise, film is exactly the same. And this title track, we have released that today, and it's tracking very heavily.
Online is a world which earlier could be sort of नजरअंदाज कर सकते थे उसको. Now कई बार पहली narrative ही उसी बनाई जाती है और कई बार full narrative उसके साथ बनाई जाती है. A lot of people now are, in the last 2 years now, we can't escape it from the point of view of what the audience likes. Do you as a producer also sit and really track what people are saying and comments, that are coming even below the trailer and all? Have you spent a lot of time doing that?
Oh yeah. We have in-house team who do that and give the report also. But I don't get carried away with that, because it's a very small universe who makes the comment, who are free and making the comment. But yeah, just one, we get some kind of thriller out of it. But otherwise, I don't get carried away with that, because it's important that your conviction about your film is more important.
Emraan, most people now literally write great things about films to get a like and retweet by the stars, because eventually it's all about followers for them. I know that you've never cared about award functions at one time, and you felt that, so many others also felt that they just had a place to please some people. I feel Twitter and a lot of these social medias have become that as well. जिसके सबसे ज़्यादा retweets आ गए about one picture, वो खुश हो गया. Do you look at into it at all sometimes, or do you actually say that this is no longer something that is very serious with the praise coming in?
I look at it with the fun aspect of it. I kind of like to gamify it, Although I gamify it, I don't take it's not a validation for me. Yeah. Like something, like it is extremely captivating.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but through this pandemic, I've realized how disastrous social media can be.
Yeah.
One day I was on Facebook, and I was on Instagram, and I was on Twitter, and I was circling round and round. And by the end of it, I think 3 hours had gone.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was like, this is not good. So I'm always checking myself, because I'm a little I always, treat social media with a bit of a, with a distant feel. I don't want to kind of take it into my life and make it an everyday thing. Although, of course, it has its pluses. When you're reaching out to a certain audience, the posts and all that is very necessary. But I don't obsess about likes and retweets. Yeah, I'll be honest, I do check it from time to time. Yeah. But it's not like I'm like, oh God, this didn't get enough likes and this didn't get enough reposts or retweets.
But are you following also critics over there to figure out what they're saying? Because now so much more time at home to sit and watch. Of course, this in theaters, but they're probably taking more time to draft out. पहले क्या होता था, 5 बजे पिक्चर देख ली, जल्दी 8 बजे तक they have to write a review, समोसा अच्छा नहीं है, drink अच्छा नहीं है, they're getting upset. A lot of reviewers in front of me have actually said, picture चल रही है and they're saying samosa stale है. And they have left the theater, get the samosa and popcorn and come back 20 minutes later, still write a full-fledged review. And I'm going, तुम तो थे ही नहीं. So I think now are you sort of seeing the sting in their word?
Yeah, with the advent of the mobile phone, I get a bit antsy also sitting in a screening room, because I can't, for the life of me, I get so upset when the phone screen comes on. Because you have made this film, like for you, it is a year plus of work.
Yeah.
And then there is this attitude when someone comes to a theater, and it obviously doesn't mean, obviously they will be probably, they like the film ultimately, but they don't have the investment in this like you have.
Yeah.
And then timing the phone screen, if it's on for more than 5 seconds, I don't know. I've lost that patience to see phone screens on in a theater, and that invariably happens. I mean, even when it's on an OTT now, we have through a film, we got to see the phone around 10 times.
Yeah.
It's a daily thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's just that's something that upsets me for sure.
Anand ji, are you nervous?
Not at all.
Really?
No, not at all. I'm very confident about my film. People will like that film.
Right.
And we are not going for any numbers. Here, this is unprecedented time. So we are here to support our theater community. So we know that people will like our film.
Is that tough to do if you say you're not going for numbers, knowing that you've been a distributor and a producer all your life, and you're a numbers person, so to let it go, is it easy?
Exhibition community, cinema community, since almost 5-6 decades, they have supported us so much. I think now it is our time to support them.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this out, and I have a feeling that, might be the end of bad times, even if there's another wave that is coming in. And of course, with Emraan, we know that whether it's a song, whether it's a film or an OTT, he shall continue to be the busiest person. I want to know this year in the Forbes magazine, who are the top 20 names that actually make it there. I have a feeling, brother, you're going to be one of those names that makes it there.
Good one. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, man.
All right, bye-bye. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. Good luck to that. They're trying their level best. Like I said, people have to come to the cinema theatres, and it's not just about the theatres being open. In the current scenario, with Maharashtra being shut and 50% occupancy everywhere, post 7 o'clock, not too many shows, they've got to sort of open out the theatres. Only then will we be able to see numbers that sort of satisfy and make everybody happy. Although in this case, as you heard, Anand Pandit said numbers don't really matter to him. But we'll wait and see. See you again soon.